In this presentation, when was taurine first approved as a treatment for heart failure patients? Which tissues in the body contain abundant levels of taurine? Which foods contain the highest levels of taurine? How does cooking affect taurine levels in foods? 14 potential health benefits of taurine according to limited human studies. What is the suggested safe daily intake of taurine based on the currently available data? What should you know before taking a taurine supplement? And what can you do to avoid wasting your time and money on supplements that probably won't work for you?
I did make every effort to include the latest scientific studies. Please note, though, that research is constantly changing, and one clinical trial cannot always cover diverse bodies and communities. Individual responses to food, supplements, treatments, and skincare products may vary based on genetics, environment, and other factors. Relying on a single doctor can be risky as errors and biases can occur. Listen to as many medical experts and natural medicine clinicians as possible. My sources and references are posted in the description box below.
According to a 2021 scientific review, taurine was first isolated in the 1800s and was first approved as the treatment among heart failure patients in Japan in 1985. Taurine is a naturally occurring sulfur-containing amino acid found abundantly in tissues like the heart, brain, retina, and skeletal muscles. And according to a scientific review titled The Potential Protective Effects of Taurine on Coronary Heart Disease, published in 2009, shellfish like scallops, mussels, and clams contain the highest levels of taurine. Dark meat from turkey and chicken, as well as turkey bologna, also provide high amounts of taurine. Cooking doesn't seem to affect taurine levels. Here are 14 potential health benefits and uses of taurine backed by limited human studies. 1. May help enhance athletic performance and improve recovery strategies for athletes. In a 2022 systematic review of 19 peer-reviewed studies conducted through September 2020, taurine improved performance in activities like sprinting or weightlifting based on findings from 7 studies, helped reduce muscle damage after exercise as shown in 3 studies, helped people exercise for longer before getting tired according to findings from 5 different studies, improved performance in 3 or 4 kilometers running trials in 2 studies, and increased peak power in 2 studies. Taurine also helped increase the maximum amount of oxygen a person can use during intense exercise and improved recovery from exercise-induced muscle soreness. Taurine seemed to work best when taken at doses of around 1 to 3 grams per day, shortly before exercise, for a period of 6 to 15 days. However, the said positive results were not consistent. In other words, some studies showed positive effects while others didn't. That said, the researchers concluded that more research is necessary to fully understand the effects of taurine supplementation on aerobic and anaerobic performance, muscle damage, metabolic stress, and recovery. 2. May be beneficial as an adjunctive therapy in early psychosis. In a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled study published in 2016, 47 of the 86 participants took 4 grams of taurine per day, while 39 took placebo. The participants, aged 18 to 25, were already taking low-dose antipsychotic medication. After 12 weeks, the ones who took taurine showed improvement in their symptoms like feeling strange or having a hard time thinking compared to those who took the placebo. They also felt less depressed and were able to function better in their daily lives. However, there wasn't much difference in their ability to think clearly between the 2 groups. The researchers concluded that although adjunctive taurine did not improve cognition, it appears to improve psychopathology in patients with first-episode psychosis. The use of taurine warrants further investigation in larger randomized studies, particularly early in the course of psychosis. Additionally, since this study focused on young people with their first episode of mental illness, future research could explore the effects of taurine on people at different stages of their illness.
By the way, before I continue, if you're new here, I'm Jera from the Philippines. Welcome to my channel where I share my knowledge and discoveries gained from reading scientific journals and books written by doctors and natural medicine clinicians. I have a strong interest in subjects related to health and wellness, especially natural remedies, personal development, dogs, and cats. Some of my favorite books are Dissolving Illusions, Disease, Vaccines, and the Forgotten History by Dr. Susan Humphreys and Roman Bystrianek. Vitamin C, The Real Story, The Remarkable and Controversial Story of Vitamin C by Dr. Steve Hickey and Dr. Andrew Saul, and Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you're also a pet lover, somewhat health conscious, and have an insatiable thirst for new knowledge, I invite you to consider subscribing. Also, after watching this presentation, you might want to check out 12 health benefits of alpha-lipoic acid backed by human studies and 18 health benefits of NAC and acetylcysteine backed by human studies. The links are in the description box below.
Moving on, 3. May increase the effectiveness of iron sulfate in the treatment of iron deficiency anemia. According to a clinical trial in 51 participants with iron deficiency anemia, published in 2002, adding taurine appears to increase the effectiveness of iron sulfate in the treatment of iron deficiency anemia without any significant side effects. 4. May help reduce the risk of abnormal platelet aggregation associated with diabetes. In a 1995 clinical trial, 9 researchers looked at 39 patients with insulin-dependent diabetes mellitus and 34 control subjects to understand the role of taurine in their blood and platelets. The researchers found that both plasma and platelet taurine concentrations were lower in diabetic patients compared to the control group. After taking taurine supplements for 90 days, the taurine levels in diabetic patients increased to match those of the control group. Platelet aggregation, a process linked to blood clotting, was higher in diabetic patients at baseline, but decreased after taurine supplementation, reaching levels similar to those of healthy individuals. The study suggests that taurine supplementation may help improve platelet function in diabetic patients. 5. May offer therapeutic benefits for patients with liver cirrhosis experiencing muscle cramps. In a study published in 1994, 35 patients with liver cirrhosis and muscle cramps were given 3 grams of taurine orally for 4 weeks. Improvement in muscle cramps was observed in 22 patients, 62.9%. 6. May help prevent cardiovascular diseases. According to a scientific review published in 2002 titled Treatment of Hypertension with Oral Taurine, Experimental and Clinical Studies, taurine supplementation of 6 grams per day for as little as 7 days resulted in measurable decreases in blood pressure. Moreover, in a 2009 study, researchers investigated the impact of taurine supplementation on plasma homocysteine levels, which are linked to cardiovascular disease risk. The study involved 22 healthy middle-aged Korean women. Their serum lipids, plasma taurine, and plasma homocysteine levels were measured before and after taking 3 grams of taurine per day for 4 weeks. After supplementation, plasma taurine levels significantly increased, while plasma homocysteine levels significantly decreased. In conclusion, taurine supplementation was found to effectively lower homocysteine levels, suggesting it could be a valuable strategy for preventing cardiovascular diseases like atherosclerosis. 7. May also have an important role in cardiovascular disease prevention in overweight or obese young adults. In a 2004 clinical trial, researchers randomly divided 30 overweight college students into 2 groups, either 3 grams of taurine or placebo, daily for 7 weeks. Taurine supplementation significantly decreased triacylglycerol levels and the atherogenic index, which indicates cardiovascular disease risk. Body weight also decreased significantly in the taurine group. These findings suggest that taurine may improve lipid metabolism and play a role in preventing cardiovascular disease in overweight or obese young individuals. 8. May help improve exercise capacity in patients with heart failure. In a randomized controlled trial published in 2011, researchers evaluated the effect of taurine supplementation on exercise capacity of patients with heart failure. 15 patients received taurine supplementation, 500 milligrams 3 times a day, while 14 patients received placebo for 2 weeks. All the 29 patients performed exercise tolerance test before and after taurine and placebo supplementation. After 2 weeks, patients who received taurine showed significant increases in exercise time, metabolic equivalence, and exercise distance compared to those who received the placebo. In contrast, the placebo group did not show significant improvements in these parameters. The researchers concluded that taurine supplementation in patients with heart failure who are taking standard medical treatment can increase their exercise capacity. 9. May improve liver injury for chronic hepatitis patients. In a controlled clinical trial published in 2008, researchers investigated the effects of taurine on liver function in patients with chronic hepatitis. 24 patients with elevated liver enzyme levels were divided into 2 groups, a taurine treatment group and a control group. The treatment group took 2 grams of taurine 3 times a day for 3 months, followed by a 1-month break, while the control group took a placebo for 4 months. At the end of the 3-month treatment period, the taurine group showed decreased levels of liver enzymes as well as decreased cholesterol, triglyceride, and thiobarbituric acid relative substances in their blood plasma. The study suggests that dietary taurine may improve liver injury in patients with chronic hepatitis. 10. May have a protective effect against the progression of visual field loss in patients with retinitis pigmentosa. In a 2002 clinical trial, researchers assessed the effect of a combination formula of taurine, diltiazem, and vitamin E on the progression of visual field loss in retinitis pigmentosa patients over 3 years. A total of 62 patients participated in this double-blind, placebo-controlled study. Results showed that patients receiving the formula exhibited slower visual field loss compared to the control group. Specifically, fewer patients in the treatment group displayed a negative slope of visual field loss, with a higher proportion showing either a 0 or positive slope. This trend persisted even among patients receiving treatment for up to 6 years. Notably, patients who switched from placebo to the formula after 2 years experienced improvements in their visual field loss slope values, indicating a potential benefit of the treatment. The study suggests that the formula may have a protective effect against visual field loss, possibly by mitigating free radical damage to photoreceptors. 11. May help improve fat reabsorption in children with cystic fibrosis. In a 1985 clinical trial, 22 children with cystic fibrosis and steatorrhea were randomly assigned to receive taurine capsules, 30 milligrams per kilogram per day, or placebo. After 6 months, taurine reduced steatorrhea by 17.6% on average and altered bile acid conjugation patterns. No changes were observed in other biomarkers, but there was a marginal increase in weight velocity. Overall, taurine showed promise in reducing fat malabsorption in cystic fibrosis patients. 12. May reverse early detectable endothelial abnormalities in young male individuals with type 1 diabetes. A randomized controlled trial on 19 young male diabetics, published in 2010, found that taking taurine supplements for just 2 weeks could improve the health of the blood vessels of the participants. Specifically, measures of arterial stiffness and the ability of blood vessels to react properly improved to levels similar to those seen in healthy individuals. This suggests that short-term taurine supplementation could be beneficial for young male diabetics in improving their blood vessel health and potentially reducing their risk of developing cardiovascular problems later in life. 13. May help improve the vitamin E status of cystic fibrosis patients. In a 1991 study involving 11 cystic fibrosis patients aged 7 to 22 years, researchers investigated the effect of taurine supplementation on vitamin E absorption kinetics. The study found that after 3 months of taurine supplementation, 30 milligrams per kilogram per day, there was a significant improvement in vitamin E absorption kinetics. 14. May help mitigate inflammation and reduce the risk of atherosclerosis for patients with heart failure. In a randomized controlled trial published in 2017, patients with heart failure were randomly assigned to 2 groups. The taurine group consumed oral taurine, 500 milligrams, 3 times daily for 2 weeks and underwent exercise before and after the supplementation period. The placebo group followed a similar regimen with a starch supplement instead of taurine. The study found that inflammatory markers decreased significantly in the taurine group post-supplementation and post-exercise compared to pre-supplementation levels. Additionally, atherogenic indices decreased significantly in the taurine group post-supplementation and post-exercise compared to pre-supplementation levels. These changes were not observed in the placebo group. The researchers concluded that taurine supplementation for 2 weeks may have beneficial effects against atherosclerosis and inflammation for patients with heart failure. According to a scientific review published in the Cleveland Clinic Journal of Medicine in 2016, there's no established upper limit for taurine intake. Studies have tested high doses up to 10 grams per day for 6 months without major adverse effects. However, comprehensive assessment of potential short-term and long-term adverse effects is lacking. While no carcinogenic or teratogenic effects have been observed, based on available data, a suggested safe daily intake of taurine is around 3 grams. Further research is needed to determine the safety of higher taurine doses and establish a tolerable upper limit of intake. Before taking any supplement, it's best to consult a doctor or a natural medicine clinician for guidance. If you have a known kidney or liver condition, your doctor may suggest regular monitoring of your kidney and liver function through blood tests. Once you get an approval from your doctor, there are high-quality taurine supplements available on iHerb.com. To save up, use APT0317 at checkout. You might want to save this discount code because it has no expiry, so you can cash in on it whenever you shop on iHerb.com.
Just remember, what works for some people may not necessarily work for everyone. If you already tried it all and followed many doctors and health gurus, but nothing worked, you may find the answer by doing some digging into your genes. If you want to get to the root cause of some of your health issues, the first step is to find your problem genes. Taking personalized supplements based on your DNA may also help, and Self-Decode can help you with that. Self-Decode provides personalized health recommendations based on a combination of your DNA, labs, and environmental factors. There are just too many diets, supplements, and health hacks out there to waste your time and money on stuff that probably isn't going to work for you. So if you want to experiment in the most efficient and effective way, click on the link in the description box below to check out Self-Decode and unlock your own genetic blueprint.
If you've learned something you didn't know before watching this presentation and you appreciate the time I invested in researching, writing, and creating this presentation, please give this video a like. If you're interested in looking and feeling your best and exploring natural solutions, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching!